Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable. Here at the RoundTable, we continue the conversations that we have had from Sunday morning and how you can have practical ways to help every person take their next steps towards Jesus together. Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable episode 55. We have our guest Alex Bope here today. We're trying to, introduce our guests first because we haven't gotten very good at that.
No, I know, and we're still out of order.
We
remember,
are.
You're supposed to introduce yourself.
I do this every time. I always want to introduce
I watched
them.
the first part of the podcast.
Why did you
last
watch
week.
it?
I don't know. I was just on it, and I'm like, this is how we started last week.
I know.
Because we had people that would say, nobody knows who we are. So Jenny put us on this regiment that when we that has to introduce ourselves, and you just started both podcasts without it.
They're just so much more important than us, and so much more. I mean, she's so cool.
Well, no, I know. Our guests are the thing that have made the podcast the best.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm Jenny Walker, the social media ministry leader here at Life Church, because that's where we are. And apparently, I'm doing marketing too now. I just found that out.
Look at that. That just means you're doing a good job.
I guess.
Right? You just keep getting added responsibilities.
Let's do it.
Yeah, perfect. And I'm Mike Hill, lead pastor here at Life Church. Why are we doing the Roundtable? Kind of give an introduction of what the Roundtable is. And
are you telling me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we're just growing your influence.
Do
your influence is growing.
Yeah.
So
no.
Your popularity.
I mean, we as a whole are.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, funny. We do the Roundtable. We sit around and we talk about Sunday's message. And I feel like getting a new perspective, or not even a new perspective, just not hearing from Mike, because well, if I really am the star, then
yes, just keep going, Jenny.
I don't even know where it was going.
No, I know where it was going.
You do?
Can we please listen to somebody other than him?
Besides Mike?
Yeah.
I mean,
so
seriously,
that's why we
it's the same
started the
person every week.
podcast. Yeah. I mean, we get a new perspective.
Right. And it's evolved because now we barely even get to the Sunday morning. Although this week we got to get to the whole idea that our YouTube comment said, if you guys believe in the devil, then believe in Santa Claus.
No, that was TikTok. And there is a lot going on TikTok right now.
Okay.
No, if you like, the bigger you get, the more controversy, I guess, around it you get. I mean, whatever you're saying is intense anyways, but that's why I'm putting it out there, because I know it not sells. That's a really bad way to say that, but to get to reach more people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So now we're controversial.
Yes. And I hate it.
Why?
It's so awkward.
Oh, I think it's awesome. The guy said something about, if you believe in the devil, you should believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Here we go. Nick's got it.
It's way better.
Here we go.
It says Santa Claus is just as real as your Satan. Grow up, man.
Grow up, man. Grow up, man.
Jeez. See?
Yes.
We need
Keep
new
him coming.
perspectives.
Keep him coming, Santa Claus, man. Keep him coming, Santa Claus,
There was more
man.
than that. What did somebody say on there? I had a conversation with them, I think. Or no, they said that steal, kill, and destroy is not referring to the devil.
Oh, so when it says that the devil is prowling around like a lion and he's to steal, kill, and destroy, it meant somebody else?
Yeah.
Who'd it mean?
I don't know. But there are a bunch of comments arguing about it.
Arguing for it, against it?
Well, somebody said that they're like, man, yeah, I was about to say that. It was supposed to be a wolf and sheep's clothing. These comments are ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I think it just probably proves none of them are probably reading the Bible, right? They just heard people say things.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so back to.
I think I said it.
We're good?
I think so.
Okay, so now we get to know her.
Yep.
The woman of many talents. That's what we were talking about before.
That's what they say.
And many names.
Yes.
Bope, Al, Alex.
Yeah, so my name's Alexandria, but people don't know my name, so they just guess, I feel like. So I go by Alexis, Alexa, and I'm
Alexis.
Oh yeah. I worked for someone, and for 2 years they called me Alexis. But I was scared to tell them that my name was actually Alex, so I just always answered to it.
Would you rather people call you Alexandria?
No, it's fine. Alex is fine.
Alex is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because I always wanted to call her Alexandria.
Oh, you can. But once people do, they're like, oh, that's such a mouthful. I'm like, okay, you don't have to call me that. It's
I love
okay.
it. I think it rings.
Yeah.
I have you saved in my phone as Alexandria. Oh. I just love it. I think it's so pretty.
No, I know. I just wondered, some people specifically don't, Mike, your real name's Michael, but hardly anybody calls you that. But some people are like, no, it's Michael.
Ew,
or the Matthew.
Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
They want to, instead of being called Jen.
Ugh.
Huh?
Well, Jennifer, that's my real name.
Really?
Yeah, I told you this a long time because remember I'd made a joke about it that it was my government name. Yeah.
That's funny, your government name.
Nicknames are really weird if you think about it.
Nicknames?
Nicknames.
Do you have any?
Well, I mean, I guess not nicknames, but like shortened names of what your name is. Like,
Why is that weird?
like Robert and Dick. Tell me.
Wait.
Out of all the ones you could pick, why?
That's the most like confusing one. I just wasn't expecting that one to come out. Oh my
I've never heard of anybody that's named Robert.
You
that
you haven't?
That
I
goes
had an
by
uncle
Dick.
named
Haven't
Norman.
you? Yes, you have.
Richard.
Oh, that's what I meant.
I was like, Robert is usually Bob, maybe Rob. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
These are the moments that will go on forever in
Richard,
podcast
my
folklore.
bad, my bad.
Richard and Dick.
Richard and Dick.
Yeah, no, that one might be.
That's
That might be.
that's weird, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
that would
why?
be. Huh?
My uncle's name was Norman. And he went by
Norman.
Dick.
Norman Dick.
No,
I'm sorry, guys.
his name was Norman.
And they called him Dick.
Mhm.
Really? No,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be
See?
surprising.
That's weird.
Why? Why is his middle name Dick?
No, it was just his nickname for Norman.
Huh.
Probably like Richard. I don't know.
That's weird.
I do hear of people like they have a middle name and they didn't like their first name, so they call them by their middle
Mhm.
name.
That's more normal.
Yeah. What's your middle name?
You don't want to say it.
I don't like my middle name.
Why?
Cause
It can't be worse than mine.
well, because I think my first name's pretty. Like
Yeah?
it flows.
Yeah.
So Alexandria, Gale.
Gail?
Gail.
Just
What's wrong
like
with
that.
Is that from like a grandma or something?
Yeah, it was my mom's friend that was
Okay.
with me when I was born. which
Alexandria
she's great.
Gale.
I
don't
think
think
that's,
that's bad.
yeah,
What's yours?
Alexandra Jolie.
Oh, I love
Sure.
that.
Jennifer Jolie.
I love that.
Isn't that a song?
Jolene, I think.
Yeah,
is that what it
Jolene.
is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But close enough. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going by Jenny's interpretation of names, anything.
You just have to go like a little bit, just a little bit there. If you start with the right letter, it's
yeah,
fine.
anything's close.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Alexandria, tell us a little bit about you. So, how long have you been coming to life?
A while.
Okay.
So I went to Huntington University, and as like I played basketball there, and
She was a star.
Yep.
no,
No, she was. I
She
went and
learns
watched
how to
her play.
dribble. I got that
Oh.
that TikTok song was stuck in
Yeah,
my
I
head.
like
No,
one.
like she was a monster on the inside.
I don't
She
know.
was.
She was
Retired.
no, she was really good. I can't remember who I was
Thanks.
going to watch to play. Who would have
Probably
been on-
Sarah.
Oh yeah, Sarah
Mm.
Fryman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Lexi and Sarah were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'd go and watch Sarah play every once in a while.
She was insane. Yeah, she
Better
is-
than you?
Yeah.
What spot did you play in?
So I played center. So it's
Okay.
basically like the big girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I play on the inside by the
The-
basket.
Trying to get him away from it.
Yeah.
Well, on defense, but
Yeah.
you know when you're on offense, you're trying to score.
Oh, that's what I meant. Same thing.
You were a cheerleader. Didn't you watch some of these games?
Yes, I
Did
did.
you watch when you were cheerleading? Did you watch?
I mean, we had to know what was going on.
Okay.
I mean, or just listen to the other women
Or just listen to
or
the
the
other
girls. I guess they would have been girls at that point in my life.
Yeah, either way. Okay, so played at the college and then started
Mhm.
coming to life during college.
Yeah. So we had to do team church once a month. So like we would go between here and the well.
Mm.
And then we liked coming here. So like we would come here just for every month. We would come to team church. So then after like I graduated, we just started coming here like every week. Me and Ethan did. So I don't know, maybe 3 years,
Did
2 or
Ethan
3
and you
years.
meet right away in college?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Mhm.
Wow.
Okay. Were
Yeah.
you dating anybody when you came to college?
hmm
Did you do the
Really?
turkey drop?
No,
No?
it
The
was like a
turkey
high
drop.
school relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know the turkey drop,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
she told us about it.
Yeah, that you'd get rid of your high school boyfriend by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What
I saw
about
this.
Ethan? Was he dating somebody?
No,
No.
not really.
Okay.
He had like a 3-week girlfriend that I always talked to him about,
Oh
but
my
it was really
goodness.
nothing.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
From-
he played baseball,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Did he play all the way
Aw.
through?
No, he stopped his senior year. Well,
Okay.
with COVID, it got like really messy because they canceled their junior year season because it was in the spring. And then we're just like, it's not worth it because it's too much time and you don't even know if you're going to have a season. So
Right.
then he just focused
Right.
on school for
And
the
he was
rest
a
of it.
pitcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lefty.
Left-handed.
Left-handed because
pitcher.
we did find that out about her.
This is an interesting fact. If anybody's ever seen him lift, he might be the most deceiving person I've ever seen. Like if you look at him, you're like, that guy's in shape. Have you seen him lift?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I mean, he
Insane.
works out like hours upon a day.
Yeah, he's been doing 2-a-days recently for fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing this and he did the Murph before. And then we went and did this and he was still working out by the time. No.
He came back.
Has that always been his passion? Working out?
Well, they worked out a lot for baseball. They had a lot of lifting stuff. And then when he stopped doing baseball, he kind of filled his time that he was playing baseball with lifting.
Okay.
Just all the
It's
time.
become his passion. Is it your passion? No. You don't like it? You don't like working out?
No, which
No?
is sad. I try. I just hate it. But I know I need to do it.
But you're good at it. Yeah, I think you are.
You think she's good at working out?
Yeah, I do.
Like a good lifter.
I think you're really good at Ignite.
Who?
She keeps
Thank you.
up. Ignite, oh my gosh. It's the class at Champs.
Oh.
Yes.
It's really
She's
good.
really
Are there
good at
guys
it.
in it?
Huh?
Are
Some
there guys
days.
in it?
Are there guys in it?
Are there guys in the class?
Sometimes.
Usually,
Usually
think
when
about
I've
something
been.
intimidating, it'd be going to a class with a bunch of women
Really?
and work out.
Why?
Well, what if you're the worst one?
That would suck.
What if
Mhm.
you're a guy surrounded by a bunch of women and you're like, they're all better than you?
But
Yeah.
I think guys are just naturally more athletic. So
Yeah, I'm with
Yes.
you. Dan
Well,
said it. That sucks.
That's why there's no men there.
Because you guys are all better.
Yep.
Because you all are
No,
all
yeah,
better.
they're beasts, man.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us. So you went to college, started coming to live. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I'm not from around here. I'm from like an hour and a half away, like west. I don't even live in a town. It's kind of by Valparaiso.
Okay, everybody will know that.
Yeah, I'm like
Close
40.
Yes.
I'm like
Yeah.
45 minutes from Valparaiso, so that's like the closest Walmart
Right.
to me. Yeah.
So you grew up in the country
Yeah.
on a farm.
I know. I'm really.
on a farm.
I'm confused.
I'm half farm girl too, half Mexican, half farm girl.
There we go.
Really?
That's what my dad always says. Yeah, I'm half Mexican, half hillbilly, but I left that kind of behind.
Really? So like
Yeah.
the farming, just like hobby farming?
No,
or-
so I mean, I come from a family of farmers, but my dad rents all his land.
Okay.
But he does pigs as well, so he has always worked with pigs.
And you don't want to do any of that. You're done with the farming life.
I mean, when like I'm older, I want to live in the country.
Okay.
Like we have horses still, but that's all we have left. We had chickens until my dog killed them. Not Jax.
Oh, I was about
No.
to say.
No, my other dog. But
So
she
you
was
like
just
to ride?
I haven't ridden, but yeah, I like did 4-H and stuff. And
Okay.
my cousins do rodeo, and they're really big into that.
Yes, rodeo.
Mhm.
Do you like to ride horses?
Yeah, I love riding horses.
Can you ride?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go to Mackinac Island all the time. What?
What is
That's
that?
a whole island of nothing but horses.
Bicycles.
And horses. You ride horses
Okay,
there.
but a horse is outside of the zoo. I mean, do you
That
ride
is
horses?
not the zoo.
Is
Yes,
it
I
not the
have.
zoo?
Mm,
It's
Mackinac
pretty much
Island?
the zoo.
We're in the back country of the island.
These horses are zoo horses.
Well, they are trained.
Yeah, no, I know. They're like
I mean,
zoo
what?
horses.
Okay,
I'm
so
talking about like a real horse.
Well-
Like you go to somebody's farm, you jump up, saddled up, and
well, in Colorado, I've been like on one of those where you like go and
yeah.
purchase the horse and like ride on it,
I don't
like a
think-
ride. But I bet that would be considered the same thing.
I don't think you purchased the horse.
No, I've not gone bareback.
Where are we going with all
Well, I
this?
thought that's like a wild horse.
No, no. Maybe you should
Yeah.
educate her.
So I
Alex.
think maybe like trail riding is that what you're saying? Like you get on a horse, you ride in the trails, you can ride through the fields, you can ride through
Yeah, no.
woods.
Well, yeah, I've done
Can you
that.
rope?
No,
No. You don't want to rodeo.
no.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay, but I'm confused about the whole you don't live in a town.
Mhm.
She lives in the country.
So like I live right here. I
I
live
just
like
hear them
in the
laughing.
middle of a triangle from like 3 small towns.
Okay.
So like, and yeah.
So then which town are you in?
She
So I
just
have
said
a
she's not
Winnem.
in
I have like a
town.
Winamac address, so I tell people I'm from Winamac, but that's 15 minutes away. But
Okay.
and I like I live on the line of the time zone change too.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I remember.
So
That's
it's really
cool.
confusing. So I live in Winamac. I live on this time, but like we do everything on the other side.
That's so weird.
So it's always on slow or It's slow and fast time, Central and Eastern time.
Right.
So they call it that. I do
Slow
remember
and
you.
fast
Yes, listen, I think that's so cool. You please talk about it.
Yeah. So like slow time is Central time.
Okay.
And then Eastern time is fast time. That's just how you say it. Because whenever you do anything, you have to know like what time it's on because everything's so close.
Right.
So like you have a basketball game.
Is it
You're
on
like,
fast time or
yeah,
slow
it's
time?
six fast or 6 slow. That's just what you say.
Isn't that so interesting?
That
But
is
you have to
interesting.
say it because or else you won't know what time
Yeah.
it's going to be
Man.
on.
I'd be
I don't know
late
why you think
everywhere.
it's so confusing when somebody says they don't live in a town. I don't live in a town.
I mean, you have to live in a town.
No.
Where'd your Amazon go? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. You probably don't have Amazon anymore, do you? Did they do that thing with it? Did they do the go
Well,
through?
I don't know. I did it even get passed?
That's what I'm
Did the
asking.
abortion law get passed?
I don't know.
Oh,
Not yet. Yeah. So I
okay.
guess
So
it
to
would
be
have been.
continued.
No, I mean everybody has an address, Jenny, that
Mhm.
Amazon sends to, but not everybody lives in town
Okay.
or has a town.
Yeah.
So do you have a Huntington address?
I have a Huntington address at my one house, and then the house I just bought's an Urbana address.
Mm.
So
those would be your towns.
okay,
You just want to
but I
live
don't
off
live
the
in a
grid,
town, huh? I would want to live off the grid.
like in the hills of Kentucky, the Everglades, or not the Everglades.
You are on one today.
I know. I'm just gonna be quiet. What the E word with the mountains? Okay, never mind.
I don't know.
Yes, the A word. I meant.
The A word, not the E word.
The A word.
You know, in the Appalachian
A-
Mountains, they start with an
My
E.
vowels A-E-O-U. I got it correct.
Oh, anyway, back to you ride
Mhm.
horses. You have horses,
Mhm.
but you would like to ride again sometime.
Yeah, I don't know. I can whenever I want. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like
What about
life-
Ethan? Did you take him home and make him ride?
Oh gosh. So like the first time, like I just take him out of the pasture. I'm like, come on. And he's like city boy, like
Yeah.
from Florida,
Really?
like
Yeah.
doesn't know anything about I mean, he does, he's very
Right.
smart, but
Right.
has never like really encountered it. So my horses are just laying down because it was sunny outside. So I go up to him, like clap, kiss him, get him up. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? Witchcraft on him? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're just like big dogs. Like
Yeah.
you just got to get him up.
Right.
And he's like, oh, it freaked him out. But yeah, he's rode a mule. He hasn't rode a horse.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
you
Well,
guys have a
that's
mule?
cool.
No, my uncle does.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were just at a campground. So I just saddled my horse and a mule for him just because it was like the most chill.
Yeah,
like,
no, mules are stubborn, but at least they ain't going to take off.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Because that's how Steven and Lexi were. Because Steven's a city boy. So she used
Oh.
to have adventure days. So she'd bring Steven to our house, and to watch a city kid get on a horse for the first time, number one, I don't know how they have any balls left after they're done.
Why? Who? The horse or the guy riding?
Riding it. Because they're just like, they don't know how to keep their seat. You know what I mean? When
Yes,
you're riding, you got to
yes,
keep your seat. And
yeah.
they're like, boom, 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 boom. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need to get off if you ever want to have
That
kids.
is-
Was Ethan that way, or was he pretty good?
No, we were pretty chill. We didn't really trot. We just walked.
Okay.
So it was a lot easier.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's cool. I didn't know you were from a farm.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah. My dad's in pigs. So like,
is that what he does for a living?
mhm. Yeah. So he
Wow.
works for Co-Alliance.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Small world.
Yeah.
Just gonna
Big
smile.
pig farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we probably send pigs there sometimes.
Yeah. Me and Brady talked about it a couple times, but I don't know
we
where it
send out
got.
60,000 babies a year
Oh my gosh.
to places like that where they
Mhm.
finish them.
That's insane.
That's a lot of babies.
Finish them.
Yeah, like they go from, we
Yeah,
send
I
them out
know.
at like 12 to 13. They're at 12 or 13 pounds, and they'd probably take them to 250, 300.
Yeah, when I did 4-H, you know how everyone has like nice show pigs. My
Oh,
dad
yeah.
just got 2 pigs from the barn.
That's
so
how we
like
did it, too.
everyone has like these nice like pretty pigs. They kind of
Yeah.
all look the same.
Right.
And then I have these huge 300-pound pigs that don't look like any other
Oh
of the
my
pigs
gosh.
in our own weight class. Because me and my brother were the only
Yeah.
one that like had it.
Yeah, that's how
But-
we are too. We always took our commercial pigs, and everybody else had these expensive ones. And
Mhm.
That big.
Yeah.
They get up to that big. What's the biggest pig you've ever seen in your life?
seen,
I don't know.
we have boars at our sow farm because you
Uh-huh.
have to run. We artificially inseminate everything, but you have to
Mhm.
run boars in front of them to lock them up.
Okay.
So you know what I'm talking about.
No.
So when a
Do you?
when a pig's in
Probably.
heat, you put a boar in front of her and she'll lock up. Then she
Yes,
means
I
she's
know.
ready to be bred.
Yep.
So anyways, you run the boar. That boar's probably 550, 600.
Oh my gosh. How much pounds is the thing in front of him?
Huh?
The other
The
pig.
sow.
The
It's not
sow.
in front. Like here's her head. She's
Mhm.
in a, in a crate, so she can't get out. So you just walk the boar down the
That
aisle.
is the saddest thing
And
I've
then
ever heard.
he stops on one that's in heat. She locks up, and then you can mark her knowing she's in heat, and then you breed her with a straw. But he never gets to breed them. He just to walk up and down the aisle and be sexually
I didn't know
frustrated
that.
all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Wait, why can't they? Why do you have to do it artificially?
Well, one, just because it's hard on them, to be able to get on their back and breed them. And then again, without it sounding sick, you don't know if it always stays in the whole time, to make sure you get the most amount of semen in them. And so if you get there and you put a straw in with a semen bag on, you squeeze the semen bag in, or she sucks it in. If it's a sow, she'll suck in the semen. If it's a gilt, you have to squeeze it in.
Wow.
Did you like all that education?
I loved it.
Yeah, so the boars never get to breed anything. The only time we do it is like if we have a call sow, just to kind of keep them going, we'll let them breed one so they don't have to be sexually frustrated all the time.
Those poor dudes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your life. So tell us beforehand we got on. So anything exciting going on in your life? Anything happening? You can speak fluent Spanish, which is everybody, which is I think an interesting fact that not everybody knows.
Yeah.
Soy mexicana. I'm Mexican.
That is Mexican.
And she's even got, when she talks, she's got the
twang,
accent.
not twang, but yeah.
Yeah, like the accent.
Well, yeah. It's half of her.
Yeah, it's kind of like you with your English accent.
Probably.
Since it's half of you.
My valley girl.
What I learned from a speech therapist is that if you learn a language before you're 12, that's how you can pick it up without the accent. So
really?
So like say you want to learn Spanish, you'll never, not maybe you really, I don't know, but I don't think so. Like you won't be able to do it without an accent because you learned it older. So my mom came here when she was like, I don't know, older, like 20s. So she will always have her like really heavy Spanish accent. But since I learned it, and that's why kids like can pick up on so many languages so little, because when they're little, they can pick up on it and then speak it without an accent.
Yeah. And the funny thing is you don't speak it all the time, but you get it. Like you kept it.
Do you speak it with your mom? Like, does she speak it fluent?
She speaks to me still in Spanish. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when she's tired, she can't think of how to speak English. So.
I was like, when I was watching TikTok, that she's all for promoting everything that I just messed up when I said Spanish. And
her mom?
No, not her mom. Just
in TikTok. Your mom's on TikTok?
No, just this lady on TikTok. But she was saying like Spanglish. Isn't that where you like talk in Spanish and then just end in English without even thinking about it?
Well, I do that a lot. So you talk in Spanish until you can't think of the word, and then you say the word in English, and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is because Lexi went overseas to spend, because of her education, she went over to Spain. So Spanish is different than Guatemala Spanish, and it's different than Honduran Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, like how they speak it. And
it's just like English. So like if you speak English in America and then you go to England, like they have different words for things. They have different accents for things, like, or like Ireland, like there's different like dialects. It's still English, but it's like just a little bit different enough to like not be exactly the same.
Right.
So crazy.
Yeah, because the guys, we have Guatemalans and Hondurans that work for us. And like when Roger, who's from Honduras, speaks to a Guatemalan, sometimes they can't understand him because it's like slang. Some of the stuff he uses is a slang thing that goes with that. So anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the Sunday morning, because I thought it was interesting that the week before you asked the question on spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
And so we've been in the Revelation series for 16 weeks, 17 weeks. I don't know how long we've been at it. But we're in this place now where we're dealing with the spiritual warfare and the things that go on. So talk a little bit about, one, your interest in it, like, because you were interested in it and wanted to know about it. So talk a little bit about what is your interest in it, or where does it come from? Or
so I think it comes from like my mom is from Mexico. So like her mom was super big into like going to see mediums and like going to like witchcraft stuff. So my grandma like had been possessed and my mom had seen it. So like my mom is like super, like she's so not crazy about it, but like she's very intense, in tune with like, you cannot let things into your mind, into your heart. Like she always says, like it opens a door to the enemy to like come into your life because she's like seen it firsthand, like on several instances. My grandma like didn't do that anymore, but
Sure.
Wow.
she'd like seen it. So like you mentioned Halloween, like I wasn't allowed to trick or treat, like wasn't allowed to watch anything with witchcraft,
Same.
like Harry Potter, like anything, like nothing.
What about Harry Potter now?
I have no desire. Like, I don't know. Which if you do, that's fine. Read the books, whatever. Like, that's like your own conviction, I think. But like for me, I'm just extra cautious because I've like heard a lot of stories. Like I enjoy like hearing stories. Like thankfully I haven't like seen anything, but I like feel that the stuff's like really real and like what you let in like through your eyes, through your ears, like goes into your heart and could actually like impact your life.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah,
So
I'm
you're
like,
not, you don't watch scary movies?
no.
Okay.
I've watched one scary movie before.
What
Okay.
was it?
I don't even remember. It was at a sleepover and I just had to do it because I was in middle school.
Was it The Grudge?
No.
Oh, that's so scary.
Maybe it was like
You watch 'em?
Oculus. Is there a movie
Oculus?
called?
Not so much anymore, but I used to.
You used to watch them a lot?
Oh yeah, I loved them.
Yeah. So why do you think? Because I think there's two camps when it comes to spiritual warfare. It's like, it's kind of out there. I know that there's a devil. And then there's like, no, like seriously, there's seriously intense.
Yeah.
You know, why do you think that there is why would people not believe that there is demons and the occult and spiritual warfare? Like, why do people not believe it?
Because they think it's just made up. They're like, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where do you think they're getting these ideas from? They just make it up, like totally make it up. No,
Right.
like I think, I don't know, kind of deep, but like
Yeah,
I
no,
think
yeah.
like the devil puts ideas and stuff into people's minds.
Yes.
Especially if they're on a platform and he can get his message or whatever, like further. So I'm like, where are these ideas coming from? Like this stuff is real.
Right.
And like you're letting it into your life. Like you're saying, you're entertaining yourself with those ideas.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, no. Like
No,
even on
yeah.
the new Stranger Things, I've never watched Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird too.
The
Just-
new like
yeah.
season, I don't know. It was like just a super demonic thing. And Ethan was watching it and I'm like, shut it off, not in my house. And he was like, why? It's not even bad. I'm like, no, like we're not letting any of, if you want to sit outside and watch that,
That's what my mom
like I
says,
know
yes.
the angels are going to protect my house, but I don't want like that stuff
Yeah.
in my house.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have any experience, like where are you landing?
Well, so I grew up like you too. Like I wasn't allowed to trick or treat, or I wasn't allowed to watch like certain movies, especially ones like that had demonic or just anything scary. So I grew up that way, but I didn't end that way. But I mean, I guess I did now, but throughout it all, like,
It's okay.
I mean, like, obviously, like,
so you grew up in a home that would say, don't do it.
right.
Then when you got
Then-
your freedom, you made the decisions to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think drugs in itself allows the enemy to enter in.
Okay.
So going along with that lifestyle, it's completely, I mean, you don't really care about anything else, but now I've ended to where I do care about it.
Right.
But what I was going to say was everything with the shootings, it's like all these kids now are playing all these video games and getting these ideas. Because think about like, I mean, years ago, we never had the problems of everybody shooting up schools. And don't you think that that is making people more violent?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Like if you're playing
meaning
it
you
on-
think that the idea is that video games desensitize them, like desensitize
Yeah,
kids
some.
to those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're violent. I don't even like those video games. Like you are like, I know it's not like real. You're not really killing somebody, but I mean, in your mentality, when you're playing it, you are. So how is that any different from going to somebody that you don't know in a school or a like a shopping place, like a grocery store, and doing the same thing?
I think it really does desensitize because it's kind of like, so like culture is kind of pushing itself. So even like, this is like different, but I think it kind of correlates.
Yeah.
So like when you watch TV and like watch movies and like the nudity and stuff and how like, I like watched a show and like the first thing I saw was just like nothing, not even like blurs or anything. And I was like, I've been watching this for 30 seconds. Like what is going on? And like, it's just like it's just easier to watch it and then it just becomes normal. So like the kids are like, that's like their normal and it's starting to be like people's new normal.
Yes.
So I think it definitely does desensitize, but I think it would be less appropriate for kids to watch that stuff, but instead they're doing the violent route rather than like the sexual route.
You think they're taking more of the violent route?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, for like video games and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I wasn't allowed to play video games, so I don't know.
I played Madden. I played Madden. Dan's shaking his head. What are you shaking your head
I
about?
played violent video games my whole life, and I don't have a desire to all those shoot That's why. Well, and the whole thing with more violence towards like the sexual thing, I don't know if I agree with that either, because you see junior high kids nowadays, even in the elementary school, kids are talking about sex, having sex. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's becoming more normalized.
Yeah.
Like it's just becoming, if you see it, it's easier like that you see it. Oh, it's more normal. And then people are literally living it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying with the video games. They're seeing it. They're doing it. It's becoming more normal too.
Yeah, so I guess that's a big question because I mean, Dan brings that up, but I think this is an interesting thing because so if you're sitting out there and you are a parent or you are somebody that is processing this whole idea of where does Satan lie in all of this? I mean, because the part of just like, you know, and I think this is part of what we're saying is that, well, culture has desensitized kids, but is part of that because Satan has worked through these people? Is it because, you know, it's part of his plan, or is it just, you know, people are come up with these things but we're going to err on the side of saying you're either in one camp or the other, right? So we're saying that scripture's pretty clear. You're either on God's side or you're on Satan's side. There is no neutral, right? So you're either being used by God or used by him. So we would have to say that anything that's not honoring to God somewhat is forwarding the agenda of Satan.
Yeah.
Right. In the things that he does. Yeah. Now, as a parent or as somebody who's sitting back there like Dan, who's saying it didn't affect me.
Right.
Right. So what is the answer? Because again, this whole idea, we erred on the side, sound like your parents erred on the side of, well, we're just not going to do it because we don't want to let our kids trick or treat, you know? And back then, this is the funny thing is back then we didn't let our kids watch Harry Potter. We didn't like any of that. My kids are now I'm one of the biggest Harry Potter fans there. I mean, they go to Universal, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out the balance, you know? So because there are other things that like, I won't even touch anything that has demonic in it. Like if the kids would ever turn it on or there'd be a movie they would say they're going to watch, I'm like, there's no way. Like that is not going to be here. You can't go watch it. So I guess how do we help people in this process? Because when they're watching, whether they're participating in video games, whether they're on social media, whether they're watching movies. So what is the answer? And in your mind, what should we be doing to guard against those things?
I don't know if I have an answer because I know that you have said previously, like, to be aware of what bothers you, like whatever's going to bring you down, to be aware of that. But if we're talking on like both sides, if it's either God or if it's the devil, like we have to believe that it's both, but we can't believe it's like in the middle. Because there was this person on TikTok who had said, I can't remember, it was around this, but they had said, well, how do you feel when, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was hinting around the fact that not everything good comes from God. Because he was saying, well, what if I go to the doctor and they give me a diagnosis that was like, I live longer, or I get money off of my taxes, or you know what I mean? We're hinting that not everything is good from God. I have no idea where I was going with that.
No, I'm kind of interested in, so meaning that, so I guess it would come back down to, I mean, is God as the creator of the universe in charge of the happenings on the earth? Does he care about the details?
Yes.
Yeah.
So right. I mean, so if he cares about the details and something good happens.
Well, I think, I don't know, because God works for the good of those who loves him. Like he works everything for good. And even if we think it's bad, in the end, it's for good. Yeah. So I don't know. I think he pays attention to the details.
Right.
And like, I don't know, it could be little things, but it's part of his plan.
No, I completely agree.
Well, I mean, it's kind of some of the inevitable, right? So, you know, when people were talking about Sherry, you know, and her death and like, if she would have been healed, it would have been so much better. But if now it's going to be coming up on a year if you look back on it, I mean, Sherry's death has also changed a lot of people's life as much as if she would have been healed.
Right.
So there's been a lot of good that has come out of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, those situations as much as, and part of the inevitable is that we have physical bodies that are dying. And
Yeah.
so when Alex says like he works good for people who love him, it doesn't mean that the good means you always get what you want.
Right.
Mhm.
He's just using those situations for the furthering of what he's doing, you know,
Right.
on there. So I think that's part of what we have to process. But I want to try to get to this whole idea. So if spiritual warfare is true, which we're going to agree,
Right.
unlike the guy on TikTok who said,
Guys, it's
Guys?
intense on there.
huh?
Tell you what.
There's more than one that thought
I
that,
just need some more people on there with me.
well, it's just you.
Well, I mean, like replying back to the comments. If this gets big, man, guys,
Just send
I
me
need help.
screenshots and be like,
Yeah.
hey, hop on.
Jenny needs some help on
I'm
her social
A
media.
little
team.
person that can't stick up for herself very well, and I am going against all these people on TikTok.
Okay, so Nick,
Gives
just
me
put it out
anxiety.
there. So here's
Yep.
what we need: a social media team
Yes.
that can be with Jenny, that can help
Bodyguards.
monitor and
Word
speak
guards.
truth. I mean, I'm serious. Speak
Yeah.
truth into the TikTok world,
Yep.
right? Because that's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
because I just have a feeling like things are
She's
going to
been
take
doing
off.
a great job, and
Yeah.
we have grown exponentially there. And
We've already
now
hit our
people
goal.
are starting to talk.
Ooh.
people are starting
Yeah.
to talk.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah.
I really believe like things are going to kick off within the year.
Yeah, but either way, but the people on TikTok are saying,
They're vicious.
yeah, because
They are. I don't like it.
no, I'm saying because of the spiritual warfare part, right? They're saying
Yeah.
if we believe in it, we're crazy.
And you're speaking truth. So, I mean, people are going to fight back on that. And I mean, TikTok has grown so much that pretty much everyone's on it. So everyone that sees it is going to have an opinion. And the more people see it and the more people comment, the more it's just going to gain attention.
Right. Go ahead.
I think when people don't understand something, it's a lot easier to like voice your opinion because
Yeah.
it's just like it's just your opinion. Like it's
Mhm.
not fact. It's just your straight opinion. So that like doesn't help anything. The fact that we're like speaking truth and other people just might not know it, they'll be like, oh, that's not true because that's not what I think.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to text and say something on like the screen and not in person. So
Oh
I feel
my
like
gosh,
that's why it's
yes.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the spiritual warfare part
Mhm.
because that's again what we're talking about in Revelation is just the opening up of the abyss, demonics coming out. You know, the idea is that the spiritual realm affects the physical realm.
Right.
We've been talking back and forth that it's not just happening up there; that it does affect, you know, our day-to-day lives. So,
Yeah.
Jenny, maybe share with us, or Alex, maybe share with our audience. Have there been times where you've experienced a spiritual battle? And if you did, what have you done to help offset that? Like, what are some of the things that you've done to go against that? So, either one of you.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. Well, like I said, using drugs is a gateway, or not a gateway, but it's an entrance into, for me, it was my mind. And that's
But
when.
let's go clear back too. So, what was I think in your story,
Mhm.
right? Like, drugs were a result of something, but was there a battle before that led you to that place? I mean, was there a spiritual battle going on, and part
Well-
of the result of what was happening led to that?
Yes, but most of it I'm not aware of. So the moment that I was born, like my mom has always said that the enemy has been trying to steal my voice because
Okay.
I was a super sick baby. When I was born, I was supposed to have a trach.
Okay.
So I almost lost my voice. And before that, I think I almost didn't even make it in birth. I should really know these facts, but I don't because they're actually real cool stories. But that's what she said. She's always said that he has been trying to take my life and then my voice from the
Right.
beginning.
Right.
So she has always told me that there has been some spiritual warfare within that.
Right. And so during your life, I mean, I think this is an interesting part about your story. I mean, you grew up in a church.
Yeah.
You grew up in a family that was what was the leverage, or what was the thing that Satan used to kind of launch you down the road of, I mean, I think you would say destruction for a while.
Mhm.
I mean, was there something did it happen through your mind? Did it happen through somebody else? How would you identify? Because I think what we have to help people identify is what spiritual warfare really is.
Right.
You know, because I think at times it's like this word that nobody really gets or understands. And so how do you feel like it happened? Like the result of the spiritual warfare was drugs, but
Right.
did he work through your mind?
Yes.
Like, and what led to those things? And maybe can you explain it a little bit?
So for me, it is my mind, definitely. But being in high school and I guess going through some things, I mean, I've already mentioned about the thing that happened to me when I was a junior or a sophomore, about how I went to a party and I got raped by all these guys that were there and I was roofied and all that stuff. But what came after that was my grandma. There were multiple things that just happened. Like my grandma passed away. And then from that situation, people at school were talking about me bad. And I don't like to not be liked. And that bothers me a lot. And I care about what people think about me. I've always have, or I guess ever since I've ever known. So I let everything that was being said about me, I let it eat me away. Like I became the words that were said over me. Right.
So you think that it was both and. So,
yes.
So Satan started in the mind, your own mind, right? Playing through the accusations, you know, because we know he's an accuser, right? So we know that he's playing through the accusations of what happened to you is probably your fault, you know, all of that stuff. And then you would say that he actually used other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. To be a voice into your life that led you down to, you know, a destructive path.
Yeah. But I think also like it didn't just necessarily happen when I was 16. I mean, it's been an ongoing thing throughout my whole life. I've always, from the time I can think about thinking, I guess, I've always had poor I can't think of the right word.
Self-worth?
Yes, self-worth, self-value. Like I've always felt bad about myself. And I can remember that from like the very, very beginning. So growing up with those thoughts from, I can't even like think of where they've been placed or how I got them. It just grew within time.
Right.
Because we went to church, but it was never a relationship. It was more religion. Like I was brought up in the church within like, my mom taught children's ministry and everything, but it wasn't taken home to the house.
Yeah. And so if you were going to give somebody this is how it's helped now, because you're on the other side of it now.
Right.
But it still doesn't mean, in fact, it's probably the intensification of the attacks is even more.
Yeah.
Because you've come out of it.
Yes.
Right. And you're on the other side of it. And so what do you do now to help guard against, you know, because again, you know, Alex said it earlier is, you know, our hearts, you know, but we have to guard our eyes and our ears as a part of like that process of what comes in, you know, which I think an interesting thing in scripture is it's not only guarding what comes in, but it's filling you with something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people err on the side of don't do this and don't do that, but then they never fill themselves with anything else. So they're good, strict on what they do, but then they tend not to fill themselves with something else. So you could give a recommendation to somebody, you know, that's battling with spiritual warfare of the mind or self-worth, or what are your methods that you can use today to fight the enemy?
Oh my gosh. I don't really know because like you said, I do still struggle with them and sometimes even more than before. Like I just had a conversation with Corinne this morning actually about this whole exact thing, which is super weird. But for me, having that conversation with her really helped. But I do find that being in scripture and doing my devotions, especially devotions centered around what you're going through, helps because then it identifies exactly what scriptures you need as opposed to you just opening your Bible and yes, God can show you, but it's more beneficial to, I think for myself, to be in a devotion and then read about it and then go to the scripture and see how it applies to me, myself personally. Yeah. And I always have this verse that I stand on, like, well, one of them is I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me, but I always think about the beauty one, I can't even think about it now.
Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah. Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Alex?
So I don't know. Like I said before, I don't have any like personal stories where I've like seen stuff happen. Like I've heard a lot of stories I think are super interesting. But I think for me, it's like the same thing. So it like starts in my mind and like the same thing with the self-worth. And it's like weird because I have a really good support system. Like I have a really good family. Like the things that I believe about myself are like totally irrational. And like the fears that like come in are like totally irrational fears. And I feel like that it's only from the devil.
Mhm.
Like that there's nothing rational about them, but I end up believing them because they're like, I'm constantly thinking about them. But yeah, and also like I love being with people. I love being around people. And then when those like thoughts and like just those fears come in, like I don't want to be around people. So then
Yeah.
when I'm lonely, I hate being alone because that's when like it's the worst. Like I like get in like almost I'm not depressed.
No.
Depressive
Yeah.
like episodes.
Like a state.
Yeah. And I don't want to be around people. So I feel like that's how like the devil uses that because then he knows that I love being around people and I like just am made for relationships. And then I don't want to be around other people when all those thoughts like creep in and like, cause I believe them.
Yes.
I mean, I know I shouldn't.
Yes,
it's like
yeah.
very irrational, but yeah. So I hate being alone and then it just doesn't help when I'm not around other people to lift me up too.
Do you guys think that, I mean, listening to both of you do you think that one of Satan's biggest attacks on women is self-worth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really?
A lot of women I talk to have the same feelings. And a lot of us don't express it as much as we should, because just listening to you, I never knew that you felt that way. And I'm sure it was vice versa too. And I think he keeps us quiet about it for some reason. I mean, just like he said that you like to go alone, I do the same thing. And
But I don't like being alone,
Me
but I
either.
just like can't. So I'm like,
you don't want to be
like
seen
me?
because you believe them.
yeah.
Yes.
Or like intellectual, like inadequate, which I love my brain. I think I love my brain, but like
Yeah.
sometimes I like just think I'm so stupid. I'm like, everyone thinks I'm stupid. Like
Mhm.
why am I even going to school? Like I'm not even smart. Like what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, wait, I am smart. Like why am I believing all these things about myself? And then I just don't even want to be around other people because I'm like, oh, they think I'm stupid. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
why would they want to be around me? I don't even want to be around me.
Yeah,
So
like
then-
it just goes and goes.
Mhm.
I've heard this, somebody told me this one time, like the things that he attacks is the things that, like, especially in our minds and everything, like your brain, like your intellect, that's something, I mean, you use it in what you do right now
Mhm.
with your degree or your schooling or your career. Oh my gosh, I was going to get there someday. But like he attacks those things because he knows that those are the most like valuable. Like
Mhm.
those are the things that are going to be used for God's kingdom. Like that's one for you. And like for me, I always think I'm annoying. I think I'm too much. Or
Mhm.
I mean, I could go on and on, but like the things that like, cause I would love to speak over people and like about the addiction and like just be not a professional speaker, but a motivational speaker.
Right.
And the things that he hits me with are the things that keeps me quiet. Just like
Mhm.
taking my voice.
Wow, that's a good way to
Yeah.
describe it.
Right. Yeah. And so with that, how can other people help? Like, because you said, you have a family that's very supportive, but in both of those situations, you have people around you that obviously see things in you that are beautiful, right?
Mhm.
So is it possible to help? Can other people help? I don't even know if I'm
Yeah.
saying it right. Like, what is a way because both of you hear it inside of your head. This is why I'm trying to understand, right? You did hear it inside of your
Mhm.
head. And can that be offset by somebody else's voice? Like, can
Mhm.
somebody help you in that process by what they say with you, by the things that they talk about?
So one of the biggest coping strategies that I've like learned works for me, like different things work for everybody,
Mhm.
is just like talking to someone through it.
Mm.
Like I said, I hate being alone. So if I'm alone, I'll just have to be on the phone with somebody like Ethan
Yeah.
or like one of my friends. We don't have to be talking all the time. Just like being on the phone. And then when something comes to my mind, I say it and they're like, that's not like rational. Like
Mm.
they like bring me back down to earth and I'm like, oh, you're right. Like now that I think about it, it's like,
Mhm.
it helps when someone else says it. Like when you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Just like talking through it and hearing it helps.
So being able to share it 1st,
Mhm.
like these are the things that I'm hearing
Yeah.
that I can't sort out if they're lies or truths,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
having somebody to be able to do that with, right? And
Yeah.
having somebody to be able to talk to about
Because
it.
the lies that are told to us are so far off. Like not even anything like that he tells you is probably true. Like we know that. And it's amazing how we can just like, I don't know. It's just so amazing how we can believe them, like
Mhm.
truly believe them. And then not only believe them, but like act that way on them, like
It
gosh,
impacts like
yeah,
other things in our
everything.
life.
So I
Yeah.
think telling somebody can bring you back to reality and yeah. And they get an understanding of how your brain or how you're being attacked, so they know how to pray for you. They know
Mm-hmm.
are able to remind you about that or check up on you.
So would you say that that's obviously an important part of somebody's journey if you are going to fight off spiritual warfare? Because this is the thing that, you know, I always go back to the scripture that talks about the person who swept their house clean, you know, but, you know, when they came back, the demons came back sevenfold, you know, and it's a representation of you can morally make lots of great decisions, right? And I think that's the picture that it's trying to paint. You were talking about earlier, don't watch, don't do, don't participate in, don't, you know, all of that stuff to help guard against it. But the inflow, without the inflow, it doesn't really matter, right? If there's not something filling you up, he's still going to find a way in.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so from listening to you guys talk, like one of the advice you give is not only the inflow that comes from your own personal relationship with Jesus, because I mean, I think it's easy to say, well, just read your Bible. I don't think it's as easy as that. Like, I don't think you just always find your identity of what's going on by just reading scripture. Because sometimes I think what you guys would say is you need people that can speak into your lives. But the only way they can speak into it is if you'll be like, this is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Right. And you need somebody to speak truth. So we would give that advice. If people are struggling with that, share it with somebody.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, for example, like the secrets that they say in recovery and like addiction, like the secrets that you keep make you sicker, which is so true. I held on to the story that I just told about when I was 16 at the party. I held on to that. I mean, I went through like 5-6 rehabs and I never talked about it. And when
Jenny,
it started,
this might be off the subject, but why is that? Like, I hear people say these things, like something happened to them, but they don't want to tell anybody. Like, why don't? Does that make sense? Like, why wouldn't you say?
I think it's because, like, honestly, I think it's a spiritual warfare thing. Like, I think like he knows that if he can keep you from talking about it, it's going to make you worse. And especially with people like that are overthinkers as women are, like if we stay in that and I sit on that, then I'm going to carry that out. It's not just going to be what happened to me. It's going to be why it happened to me. Like it was my fault. And then that's going to carry out and it's going to lead me into what it did all like years and years of.
So you think part of it was, you know how they say he's an accuser and he stands in front of God and accuses.
Yeah.
And then this is what we're going to talk about this Sunday is how the accusations then spill over into our own lives, right? Like he accuses before God and then those accusations spill over to us. Like that's what he said. Now we hear those same accusations. It was our fault. If I wasn't this, if I wouldn't have let them do, if I wouldn't have drank that drink, if I wouldn't have been at the party, and those accusations then essentially that he's accusing us in front of God spill over into our own lives. So you're saying listening to the accusations is what kept you quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I felt guilty.
Right.
I mean, all those things that you feel to keep quiet about anything like shame, guilt, embarrassment.
I feel like you don't know how people are going to respond too.
Yeah.
So then they could also project those feelings that you said back onto you, like, oh, maybe it was your fault. Like when it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that would be a reason why too.
Right. But being able to share with somebody, like you said, because if you keep the secret and then being able to have those people in your life that can actually discern between truth and lie.
Right.
Right. So having those people that can, you know, determine those things. Because I think it's different. I mean, I don't know where Nick stands with this, but I don't think it's the same with men.
Really?
Well, do you think it is with Ethan?
Nice.
Like,
I know. Wouldn't that be amazing?
No, I don't think Ethan deals with the same
Like
things.
what goes on in your brain then?
Like Nick, do you think men from a spiritual warfare standpoint that the battle happens in our minds? Like they're saying the battle starts in their mind. Do you think it's the same with men?
No, we're way different.
Really? That's so nice. Like what goes on
Like
up
I'm
there
kind of
then?
jealous.
I know,
Like,
you think it's
what?
like nothing, like crickets in your mind?
Well, no, mine is always the same. This is like, I feel like God has instilled in every man to be a protector and a guard.
Yeah.
And so that's like the nature of a man. So the nature of a man is to be a protector, right? And sometimes we do a terrible job of it, you know, but we want to live up to it. Like we want to live up to those things. So the way Satan gets to me is hurt the ones I love because I'm a protector, right? And I can't do anything to protect them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he goes after, because he knows it. I mean, he says he knows he can't get me, but like, it's not gonna, like, I don't deal with that in my mind. Like I'm not, I don't deal with the self-worth. I'm not trying to say it arrogantly or not. I just don't. That's not the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for a lot of men, it's, attack the people that I love, or the people around me, because that's something then as a protector, you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that
You have to
sucks.
stand and watch.
Yeah.
And what worse thing can happen to a man than to watch the ones that he was supposed to protect be
Mm-hmm.
railed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I don't know how it is for Nick, but I think for a lot of men, it's not so much of the mind. I think it's more on at least it is for me. It'd be interesting for some of our viewers to
Yeah.
send that in, because I do think part of what you guys would said, I think is a good thing for this podcast. I
Mhm.
think people should share their story.
Mhm.
Like this
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
way that I'm sharing my own, you guys are sharing your own, but I think when you share it, it also helps us identify.
Yeah.
And I think everyone like has different battles. So like for me, I was like, well, mine's like nothing compared to yours.
Mhm.
But like I saw like something that says like just because like someone carries it easily doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
not difficult for them. Like
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yeah,
it's
for
not heavy
sure.
for them.
Mhm.
So I
Right.
think even if you think that your story or like what you're going through isn't really significant, like just talking about it will still help.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because somebody's going to relate to it.
Mhm.
Well, it's bringing awareness. And that's why when you asked the question a couple weeks ago or a week ago, like, how do you have more of an awareness of it? I just said it's like part of reading fictional biblical history, or fictional biblical books is like that idea is like it puts it more in our terms when you start to see the
Right.
spiritual realm and what really happens and how in people's minds from a spiritual perspective the demonic works. I think
Mhm.
part of us understanding spiritual warfare is to understand the demonic, understand what's actually going on. In fact, when I shared that story about that vision I had after the car wreck,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted somebody to draw it because I thought I would forget it. And it's
Mhm.
still the most vivid picture I've ever had in my entire life.
That's
Yeah,
Like
that's
awesome.
the
neat.
most vivid thing I've ever seen. The faces of the demons and the presence of the angels, like
Mhm.
something I'll never forget.
Mhm.
And I think that awareness, like that was a gift. Like to me, that was a gift
Yeah.
from God saying, I want you to see something because you have a story to tell. Like I want you to see this because this battle is not just
Mhm.
for your life. It's for Alex's life. It's for Jenny's life. It's for Nick's. Like this is the same thing. So make them see this,
Mm-hmm.
because once you see that, I think you operate differently.
Right.
Don't you? Like when
Yes.
people are aware that
Mhm.
this is a spiritual battle
Mhm.
and not just a,
Oh, absolutely.
makes them more aware, makes them operate differently,
Mm-hmm.
inside of that. So, all right. So let's go with our questions, Nick, because our questions lead into some of what,
Yeah.
we've been talking
Yeah.
about. So let's
Yeah.
talk through our questions.
All
Question
right.
time. We should get like a little intro song to question time.
That'd be good.
Well, now that we have a musician on here, we
Oh,
could.
that's right.
you
Should-
have Nick.
Oh,
And
that's
he
true.
sings. I guess we could
Yeah.
do one together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
you guys could do it together.
Thanks, Alex.
Everybody forgets that talent of Nick too.
Oh,
How many people do you think were surprised when they saw Nick on stage with his guitar? Yeah, I
Me?
bet
Really?
lots.
I
Yeah,
had a
but-
few people come up. Yeah.
I guess
It's been a
that's
while since
true.
I was up
I guess that's true.
I
Yeah.
mean, he used to be up a lot,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's
back in the
morphed.
day.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So this first question is from Kaylin. She said, "Did you grow up in church? If not, what led you to Christ?"
So we can do
Well,
that.
we answered that kind of.
I don't know. Did we answer that with you? Alex?
Yeah, I grew up in church.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of went from different churches, not because of like anything crazy, just because we felt like my parents felt that God was leading them somewhere else. So we actually went to a bilingual church. That was pretty well. It
Did
was
you really?
It was
Really?
Hispanic church, but it was only bilingual because my dad was the only white guy. So I was kind of talking
Oh my
in
goodness.
That's what
English.
makes it
That is
bilingual.
so funny.
But yeah, I have like a lot of different backgrounds from doing that.
Mhm.
Are we non-denominational? What is
Yeah.
this? Okay, yeah. So like a little bit of Baptist, like a little bit of Pentecostal, like
Yeah.
some fun stuff.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what you could do? You could
Mm.
fulfill one of Life Church's first dreams.
Which is
Mission trip.
No,
Oh.
we did
that's
some
the
of those.
second
Second dream? Okay, what was
We
first?
always wanted to have a bilingual. We wanted to have a Hispanic.
You know, I've been
service.
thinking about that a lot.
So we said, like, listen, God, right from the beginning,
Uh-huh.
because again, we were connected with a lot of Hispanic people in Guatemala,
Mhm.
you know, and one of the things that they talked
Oh.
about was like when people get here, they either have the Catholic Church, which again, I probably should not get on that because that'll be like a lot of bad comments. But
Yeah. I
in-
can't deal with those.
well, no,
too.
I'm just saying in their eyes, and I would probably agree with them that the Catholicism is not Christianity, and for these Hispanic people, they don't know any different. They don't know where to go.
Mhm.
And so they end up in a lot of these towns where nobody has anything for them.
Mhm.
And so they encouraged us from the beginning, well, just open up your church and let a Hispanic congregation use it. And so we have tried from the beginning
Really?
to do that. Like I've always wanted people to come in and use it or to be a part of it. Cause I think it would be a great ministry into a community where, again, for a lot of, because that's growing.
Yeah.
You know, that.
I've actually been thinking about that, so that's crazy.
Confirmation.
No, I'm just saying, I think God could really use Life Church that way.
You know, it'd be cool though if you do that, and then on top of that, to be able to send it out in 2 different countries.
Or just
as a
to be able
live
to send it
stream.
out all over United States. Because
That
again,
too.
one of the biggest struggles in the United States is all of these immigrants coming in. Where do you find your place?
Yeah.
If you're not in a bigger city that
Mhm.
has a big collection of
Right.
Hispanics, where do you do that in Huntington, Indiana? I mean, think about it. But you think about how the amount of, because we were going to do it on something other than a Sunday because most of the Hispanics work on farms, you know, so it's very difficult for them to get to
Oh.
church on the weekend, you
Didn't
know,
know that.
and so we were going to try to figure out a day that worked, you know, for them, but I could just never get anybody to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said,
Wow.
we'll offer the space, the cameras, the sound, everything the person needs to be able to do it.
Mhm.
You know, we have it. Like God's
Mhm.
gifted us with the stuff, and we could just get somebody to come in here. And I think it would be awesome to
Mhm.
be able to do that. And I think it would be a great ministry to this community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, because we've invited Hispanics to come here, but then like after thinking about it, we're like, oh, well, they're gonna get here, English music,
yeah.
English
Yeah.
preaching, and when they don't, I mean, they understand enough to communicate like conversation, but not
Right.
like this kind of in-depth stuff
Mhm.
too. So
Like not to like be engaged and
Yeah.
get,
Well, it's just different. I mean,
Yeah.
it's different culturally. Like if you go to a Hispanic
Yes.
church, it's not like an English church,
Mhm.
you know, in the way that they operate and the things that they do. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
another thing for us to pray about. Maybe you can get
Yeah.
that started here.
Yeah,
Or
we'll
maybe you have
see.
enough connections. I mean, I
I
don't know.
know.
I don't know. See, I don't have connections here.
Okay.
I have connections at home.
Yeah. Well,
You
maybe
know?
those people can make connections here.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe they know enough people around here, or maybe they could help get something going. But I
meant to be.
think for us, again, continually thinking outside of the box, what does a church need to be able to do? Because I don't think it works to just bring English. I've been in enough Spanish speaking services and enough English speaking services to try to make them go together. It doesn't always go together,
Mm-mm.
you know? And so if we could have a Spanish speaking, you know, church and a English speaking church, and I think there'd be great ministry opportunities to
Mhm.
be able to do that. So sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
you're fine.
you, but
No, that was
yeah.
good. Yeah. So then I
so
grew
you
up in
ended
church.
up in a non-denominational. Is that where you were going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I just have been around a lot of different kinds. I love all of them because I love the people. Like no matter like as long as they believe like in the Bible, I have like my own personal beliefs, and that's like what we believe here.
Mhm.
And just kind of like meeting new people from a bunch of churches is
Yeah.
like different, having little families from a bunch
Yeah.
of places.
Right.
So yeah, my faith has always been really important to me. That's why I went to Huntington University because I wanted a Christian
it really?
university. Well, kind of.
No,
I was
know,
like,
I mean, it was the both and, right? Because you could play
it was-
basketball and
yeah,
as
I just-
Christian.
well, I only like applied like to Christian schools,
Got
but I
it.
just went to whoever gave me the most money.
Yeah, no.
That's smart.
Which
No.
is
Yeah.
Huntington.
You were supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Good. And you've already said you grew up in a
Mhm.
church.
Yeah.
I grew up in a church, but became Christian later on in life. So I did not. I grew up in it, meaning it just took me. But
Yeah.
it actually made me hate it. You know,
Mhm.
because I went to a very traditional church, and probably what made me hate it though, and I think this is a lot of people, if you grow up in a church and it's never acted upon, like if you never see it,
Yes.
you know, and again, to this day, which is so weird, like I've no, you know, later on in life, like once we were out and I gave my life to Christ, where my parents stood, but you would have never known that growing up.
Yeah.
Like I would
Yeah.
have known that was an important part of their
Mhm.
life. We never watched any of those things. I never even saw somebody give a testimony or get baptized ever
They don't do that there?
at the Methodist church that I was in. Never.
Oh, is it as a baby?
Yeah, they
when
do
they
it as a
baptize?
baby.
Okay.
Yeah, you do your, like the girls wear the big dresses, your little babies put on the big
I learned
dresses.
that
But
the
I
other
had
day.
never seen somebody like publicly say like I was a sinner saved by Jesus and baptized. Like I never saw that growing
Yeah.
up at all. So
It's
anyway.
wild.
Okay, next question, Nick.
Well, this is just a comment from Tim. Tim just wants Alex to know that he's excited to have her on the worship team.
Yeah, so let's talk
Thanks,
about that
Tim.
because people saw her up there. But has this
Yeah.
been something like forever for you? Like
Yeah. So actually, every church I've went to, I play on the worship team.
Really?
Yeah. So like I started when I was 12. My dad plays bass. So
Oh,
he's on. So
that
he
makes
kind of like
sense.
got me in. So I started when I was 12, and then every church I've been to
Wow.
since I've been on the worship team.
That part's amazing.
I know.
And at HU, I played on Joyful Noise.
Really?
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Joyful Noise played here one time.
Did they?
It's just like it's just the band at the
Yeah.
university.
Right.
Well, I went to one actually one time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just recently.
was
Yeah,
it
A
good?
month ago. Yeah, Bree taught.
Oh yeah.
She did so good.
Yeah, well, that's what we always tried to get. Like way back in the beginning when it was hard for us to find worship people, we would try to get
Them.
them to come over. But they don't do that very often, right? Like go
not
to a church.
not typically. No,
Yeah.
when I was there, we didn't.
Right.
So.
That's so neat.
So yay.
I know.
Thank you.
Another person on the worship team. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay.
And then from Jennifer, she said, if you could wake up tomorrow with a new ability, what would it
Yes.
be?
A new ability.
dun dun dun.
Okay, so you said you've been thinking on this forever, Jenny.
No,
so,
I said I didn't. Remember, I said I wasn't thinking on it.
oh, I thought you
But
said
I
you
had
were.
the question forever.
Okay.
Well, technically just till like 10 o'clock this morning, but still.
Okay, so you've thought about
can
it
do a
this
lot of
whole time. So
Googling.
you came up with
Well, yes. So I would love to be able to go back in time. That's what I said.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
if you forgot what
I
you said
know.
in the beginning. If you could go back to any place in
That's
time.
a hard question.
Huh?
That's a hard question.
Why?
Because I have a ton of them.
okay, we'll
like-
pick two.
Okay, so
Two.
I would like to go back to I would like to go back to I guess I don't have it to like a particular time, but just time when Jesus was here.
Really?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
that is
would,
a particular
that would
time.
like I feel like is it? Well, I mean not like no, I mean like a moment, like
Oh.
him feeding fish or
Oh.
like something like that.
Him
yeah.
feeding fish
Well-
or feeding the 5,000 with fish. Either way.
That one.
Yeah. No.
Yep. Answer
Yeah.
A or
Okay.
B. You said B. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
of
you
the
would like to be
above.
that. You would have been like to be around during Jesus' time.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think it would have like maybe not edified, but I feel like it would definitely like strengthen. Does that mean edified? Does edified mean
It
strengthen?
doesn't matter. You're on a roll
It
today.
sounded so good in my
no,
head.
I know. Just keep it. Keep it.
I liked it though.
Keep
you
it.
know when
Number
you say
two.
words and
Number two.
Okay. Number two. I don't know. I think I love the 70s. I would go back to Woodstock.
You would?
Yes, I would. Oh, I should probably go see Jesus first. No second. No second. I should go see Jesus after Woodstock.
No, you should see Jesus
No,
before Woodstock.
no.
That way you won't like engage in Woodstock.
But I want to.
okay.
So I'm going to
then
go to
you
Woodstock and then I'm going to go
Woodstock
see
first and then
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then you're gonna go get
Just kidding.
go
That's
get
wrong.
healed. Got it.
At Woodstock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Here's a question. Go ahead.
It was confusing. I made it confusing.
No, here's a question. What
Okay.
kind of clothes did people wear in the 70s? What was
like
popular?
bell bottoms.
That's
and
was.
Is
We were
this a
just
trick?
having
Is
this
this a trick
discussion.
question?
No, because Lance's moving that he's doing,
Yeah.
he's doing for Wayfaring Stranger.
Yeah.
They were asking people to be in it
Uh huh.
and to be a extra. You
Yeah.
had to have clothes from the 70s. So I'm like, what is that? Like, what are clothes from the 70s?
Well, I would have saw myself in like a flower headband.
And bell
And-
bottoms.
Yeah, tie dye. Maybe not bell bottoms. I don't know, but tie dye. Just I don't know. I just velvet pants. I don't know. It
You
didn't
need to
have
get you
high
an out- you
waisted
need to get
stuff.
you an
then.
outfit
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
high waisted. That's where that
like
came
floral
from.
stuff.
Yes, floral. The mustard.
High waisted came from the
Mustard.
70s.
I would
think so.
assume. I
think
don't
so.
know.
Mustard, that army green, that nasty green. Those were good days.
Okay.
Come on now.
Well, bring them back.
You were there, weren't you?
In the 70s?
Yeah.
Born in 73.
Wow.
So I
See,
have no
what a
idea what
good
everybody was
year.
wearing.
I
during
know,
that
but
time.
like you don't remember when you're like 8 or whatever?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I guess I can't think of anything when I was 8. It was the 90s.
Okay, so
No.
Alex, your power.
Yes.
Or
Okay.
Your ability.
So I would want to like be able to like touch someone and feel exactly how they're feeling.
Ooh,
Kind of like an empath, like because I want to like empathize. Like I told my mom that for the first time and she was like, are you okay? Do you need to talk about anything? I was like, no. Like I just genuinely, because like, I think that'd be so cool because some people like hide a lot of things. And I want to, like, if you're so happy, I want to feel how happy you are. If you're so sad, I want to feel how sad you are. Like, I just want to be in the moment with you and feel that. Right?
That's seriously impressive.
Fun fact, I'm an empath.
Really? I feel like
Meaning you can touch somebody?
No. No, but I feed off of people's like, not energies and vibes because that sounds bad, but like they're like just how they're feeling.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like in jail, like being so close with everybody, like it was so bad. Like if somebody was going home that day, I could sense like how nervous, because you get really nervous before you leave. And like I would be feeling like anxiety and stress and like nervous, everything that they were feeling the whole day until they left. I'm like, thank gosh, they're leaving.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like when someone cries, I cry and I can't help.
Yeah.
Like I just cry. I'm not sad.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm not sad for them, but like I just see them crying and I just start
And
crying.
you cry with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or like after meetings, if we're sitting in there and nobody's talking but you, and I can sense how people are like feeling, and like, so I pick up on those and I take them and I have to like regroup for like an hour or two after. I'm serious.
Because what's happening with everybody's feelings?
I mean, just, I don't know. Some people could
get
be upset
tense?
or
Stress.
Yeah.
You feel
anything.
other people stressed and you get stressed.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a strength.
That's impressive.
Sometimes, or it can be a weakness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody's
When you
like-
can feel what everybody else is feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be I want to read your mind.
Oh, that would be so scary.
You know why? Because I think most people are fake.
Really?
Yeah. So I want to be like, I want to really know what you think, because most of the time I think you're just blowing me smoke.
I would get my feelings hurt too bad.
Me too. I couldn't
I'd be
do
like,
that.
I don't know. I don't want to know what you're thinking about me.
I could never have that. No.
You don't want to know what people are
Oh
really
gosh,
thinking?
I can't. Like, I get my feelings hurt very easily.
Yeah, I just want to
I
know.
couldn't, because I don't even like when like you walk out of the room and like, you know, when like people start talking, like it might not necessarily be about you, but then you walk out and you can still hear it and you think it's about you. Like I cringe.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I
Yeah. It's
hate
like,
it.
oh gosh, I'm so stupid. Like that's all they're talking about
Yeah.
is how
Or like
much.
when you walk up and leave from a table, you feel like they're talking about
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
No, I would just love to be in a meeting and be like, okay, stop faking it.
You
Just
would
tell
not
me-
want to hear my mind in
Huh?
a meeting.
Why?
It would just be like, you just wouldn't.
I think you get. I don't think people understand. Well, my mind. I'm sure your mind is the same. Like I actually have like 10 thoughts at a time.
Yes.
Like constantly.
Yeah.
Like my mind just goes like
Disney,
crazy.
Florida, Disney, ocean. Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah, like all of them. Just like I can be thinking like 20 things at once.
Yeah, like it confuses me sometimes. Like makes me dizzy.
Because you got so much going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I would love to read people's mind. Like when they come up and they say something to you, but then you could be like,
Like
I
a
know,
compliment.
I know what you're really thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd love to know
You
that.
could handle that.
Yeah.
Huh?
You could handle that because you don't get your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
I tend not to get my feelings hurt.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
would be good at that. Maybe then
Being
you could
able
just
to-
tell us if it needs to be said.
Yeah.
Not
If it's
Nick,
good.
Nick,
Yeah.
did you have an ability that you wanted so you can chime in here?
That's a
I'd
fun
love
question.
to fly. I think
Fly?
that must be fun. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Go anywhere I want to, whenever
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, so fly just so you could get there quicker?
Or just
Just so you could see things
Just
from the
to show
sky?
off.
No more stuck in traffic.
Okay.
No more. See, you can see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights.
Me
Ain't no
too.
flying with me.
I am too, but I'm assuming that I'm
So-
assuming if I could fly, then I wouldn't be afraid of heights.
Yeah, so if you get
You
that
get
power,
it,
you're
and
not
now
going to
you're
be there.
afraid.
You're not going to be afraid anymore.
Well, we can just go jump out of a plane and that might cure it.
Heck no.
Oh, come on. You want to?
Jump out of
We
a
can
plane.
wear like GoPros and do a podcast in the air.
No,
Okay.
no.
I think Ethan does. So
He wants to?
There, you and
I think
Ethan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
guys
you want
can
to?
go. No.
Yeah, we're all afraid of heights.
Oh, that's right.
No,
I
none of
mean-
us are going to go jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
I know, but it's not like you're like looking over it. You're falling.
That makes it better.
It does in my mind.
Yeah, so let's end it with this. 'Cause I'm assuming we're pretty close on time, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's end it with this. If you could give advice
Mhm.
or help people in this whole idea of understanding that you have an enemy and how to fight against them. Like if you could give the overall audience, not just from your own perspective, but things that you've watched other people do or things that you've done yourself. One, or you can either address like how to be aware or address how to, be able to continue to fight against, the enemy. So Jenny, want to start?
Yay.
You don't have to.
I mean, well, I feel like I've said some of it too, like my advice, but I think to know your enemy, you really have to know yourself.
Okay.
Because
so you didn't say that.
I didn't, but in a sense I did. Like you have to, like he attacks your most vulnerable places, the places that like you are maybe like insecure about.
Yeah. So you would say, and again, maybe just to clear it up for people, you would say that one of the things Satan does is studies you.
Yeah.
And knows you very well.
Yeah.
And so by knowing you, he can attack in those areas. And you're saying, so if he knows you better than you know yourself, that's going to be a problem.
Right. Yeah. That's just like with anything in life. If he knows the Bible better than you do, which he probably does because nobody's reading their Bible, then, you're screwed. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever on the podcast.
That's true. I just say dick. I just love saying that word. It's so fun.
Okay.
I read something I was reading and it said like the devil's been doing this for a long time. So he knows how humans work.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're the first human he's trying to tempt. So like he knows what works to get people off track and to like get into their minds.
It's gotten better.
So yeah.
All the years.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I would say for me, just like kind of what you said, but going off of that is just like find what works for you. Because like every person is different. So I said like my coping strategy, if you will, is like talking it out and finding people. But some people like journaling. I also like listening to worship music, just like sitting in it.
That's a good one.
And it depends like what worship music you're listening to. Like praise music is good, but like the worship music that is based upon scripture is like awesome because it's just like scripture surrounding you. And then that's like what you're letting into your heart as well. So that's filling you up.
Yeah, good. Mine would always be make sure that I know that who my enemy really is. Because I think part of the problem in my world is that a lot of people have an opinion, of what you do, what you say, how you operate, and even in a lot of relationships, I used to say this, with Sherry all the time. And now Sarah and I talk about this is like, when we have these moments, just remember, I'm not the enemy and you're not the enemy. Like what's happening here in these moments are not, this isn't a fight against me and you, right? Like we got to understand what those things are. And the same things is like when people ask me, well, did that hurt your feelings because this person left the church and now this is what they're saying about it and this is what's going on? I'm like, no. And here's why. Because I know the enemy. Like I know how he works. Because I know who I am, right? Like I know who I am in Christ and I know that I'm doing the best I can to be who I am in Christ. So I know when these things come, they come from the enemy. And so I think knowing that Satan is using other people, at times to derail you. And if you look at them as the enemy, he breaks apart, which is the most important fabric of Christianity, which is relationship, right? And seeing people in the image of God, and I think he tries to break that apart because when we see people who attack us, we don't necessarily see them in the image of God, and if you're going to be a great evangelist in this world and you're going to be one to reach people, you're going to have to see them in the image of God because they're not always like you, and they're not always talking like you. So for me, that's part of it. And then the other part of it is just knowing too, like you guys said, is what makes you weak, because there are certain rhythms of life that make you more vulnerable, right? Like the way, at least it is for me, the way that I'm doing life, can tend to make me more vulnerable for things than when I know I'm in a good rhythm. When I know I'm in a good rhythm and I know that life is good and I know that I'm meeting with the right amount of people, that I'm doing the right amount of time in my devotions and I'm getting enough time away from people, you know what I mean? Because it's the both and, if you know that rhythm and when you get out of that rhythm, too much stress, not enough sleep, too many people, like all of a sudden you're more vulnerable, I think, than, you were in the past. So knowing your rhythm and sticking to it, and then the last thing is I would agree with what we said in the beginning. Everything that comes through your eyes and through your ears is a window to your heart. Your eyes are a window to the soul. So I think you need to guard against it. I think you need to be careful. I think that we spend too much time, not that we're wrong on the fact of don't watch Harry Potter, but I'm honestly think that one of the greatest tools, manipulating tools today is social media in a good and a bad way. Right. Like Nick and I have had this discussion is I think we have to overtake social media, right? Like we need to be at a place where that's why you should have people on your team. So we as a church, I've decided, hey, we're not going to go away from it because you can be a voice in the right way.
Right.
But that's the problem is that there are more voices for the other team.
Yeah.
It seems like, that there are more voices. Huh?
It's easier.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If we understand first that it can be a tool of manipulation and it can lead us down the wrong path, but at the same time, it can also be used for good, inside of that. But knowing what goes through your eyes, what you're listening to, can have an effect on that. So, okay. So end us up, Jenny, with the number. How can people get a hold of us?
So basically what we just did right now with the questions, people are sending in and texting us because we send out once a week now who our guest is, and then they ask us questions on that. So if you text this phone number, it's up there. Yes, it is. To 260-408-8383. You can send us questions. You can answer to those questions, comments. If you want to be a guest, we just want to get to know you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this, one of the things that I didn't say in the beginning, Alex, that I don't know that it even matters, but I'm really proud of you and Ethan because your generation of people are missing from the church, and you guys have really taken an initiative to be a part of Life Church and to fit in and serve and be a part of. And so, I'm just proud of you for going against culture because, you guys are really a bright spot of Life Church, and really seeing, you and you guys lead the way in that way and seeing other young couples. And so really proud of you for taking that step. And, you came during college, but you continued to find Life Church as your home because I think that's what it's going to take is great young people like yourself on fire for Jesus and not having all the answers, but trying to get it figured out and trying to see those things. So I'm just excited to continue to watch your journey because I think that's going to be the other cool thing is maybe a Hispanic church, maybe mission trips,
maybe also for the children's. This has been on my heart a lot too. Like children with disabilities, like just a disability ministry.
There you go.
Yeah, because that's like right up your alley.
Yeah. See, here we go. So we're going to just see, because I have always said there's nothing greater at Life Church than to watch somebody grow. I mean, if I could just sit back and for the rest of my life, go to my graves, watching people flourish and who God made them to be, it would be the greatest gift I've ever been given. So just thank you for, again, being on here, but also thank you for everything that you guys have been doing and look forward to watching you grow in the future. So
thanks.
Good. All right. So everybody, thanks for joining us here on the Roundtable. We look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Bye.